Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, we visit Louth where the Bishop of Lincoln unveiled a new social justice fund. And we have another school for big questions. And my guest today is East Yorkshire artist Stephanie Hatley, who's here to talk about how art has helped her. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Emma Lingard. First, it's over to Erica Barker for the news headlines.
A Royal Navy sailor has been found dead in the Seychelles. From North Thoresby, 23-year-old Charles Warrender was serving on board HMS Richmond when he was found dead on Saturday. An investigation is underway into his death. The Bishop of Lincoln has launched what he calls a social justice fund totalling £1 million. In partnership with the Lincolnshire Community Foundation, the money will be available to community groups across the region, with individual grants worth between £5,000 and £25,000.
We want to spread it thinly so that it can be used to kickstart things, so that it can draw down other grants and become sustainable. But we're not going to be running, we could run one project or two projects for that, which would go on forever, but actually we want to try and have a large number of projects across the whole historic county of Lincolnshire.
Ward 24 at Scunthorpe Hospital has reopened to new admissions after a deep clean has taken place. The ward was closed on the 20th of May following an outbreak of the norovirus. And work starts to upgrade 6 level crossings in Grimsby. They will be replaced by obstacle detection barriers which scan the crossing using a laser to confirm it is clear before the train is allowed to cross. Willowgate Crossing is closed to traffic until the 15th of June. This will be followed by work on Friargate, Fishdock Road, Pasture Street, Littlefield Lane and Garden Street, with work due to be completed by the end of September. And impressive birds of prey have taken up residence at St James's Church in Louth. The peregrine falcon parents now have 3 offspring, which are children at Kidgate Primary School have called Rapunzel, Flash and Perry. It has caused the closure of the spire at St James, but anyone wishing to see the birds live can go to the church and see them on the TV screen in the coffee shop.
Actually, it's fabulous that she's here. We've been watching on the television screen for the past month or so, her sitting on these eggs, and she laid the one, and then when we realised there were 3, we were just really hoping that the eggs would all hatch successfully, and they have. So it's been sort of a bit of a waiting game, so a huge relief. I think we all breathed a sigh of relief with her when they hatched.
And that's the latest news.
Now, as we heard in the news, a new fund has been created in Lincolnshire under the Diocese of Lincoln. The scheme is called the Bishop of Lincoln Social Justice Fund, and it's hoped it will act as a catalyst to both churches and community groups to become involved in building sharing communities. The fund is quite substantial, as Richard Morris found out.
£1 million will now be available to local organisations across the Diocese of Lincoln area. But as the Bishop of Lincoln, the Right Reverend Christopher Lowson, admits, it is not the largest amount of money in the grand scheme of things.
We want to spread it thinly so that it can be used to kickstart things, so that it can draw down other grants and become sustainable. But we're not going to be running, we could run one project or two projects for that, which would go on forever, but actually we want to try and have a large number of projects across the whole historic county of Lincolnshire. We're working in partnership with the Community Foundation, and they know the places of need. We're also working hard to inform the diocese, all the churches in the communities, both Anglican and other churches, who are serving the community, so they can think of projects. And I don't want all the applications to come from the usual suspects who are very good at making applications, but actually to places that haven't thought of this sort of thing before. And we would go in with the foundation and others to actually help them to imagine what might be the right thing for them to do. It's amazing how much value you can add to people's lives with a relatively small amount of money.
The money is aimed at faith groups helping people in the local area.
Well, I think that we want to work primarily with faith-connected groups, and it might not be just the Church of England, but other faith communities. But the recipients of the service that's provided would be anyone who needed that service. It's not going to be limited to just church people. Indeed, the whole point of this is that we're reaching beyond ourselves, beyond our gathered communities that were in church on Sunday, to actually the wider community who are in more need than most people in our churches are.
The fund will be available primarily to projects dealing with social cohesion, isolation, poverty, older people and children and young people.
You're watching Estuary News. Coming up later, there's another Big Questions to Little Kids, and Erica Barker will bring you the sports news. But before all of that, now it's time for my studio guest. She trained as a silversmith in the 1980s, but aged 40 was diagnosed with ME and was able to deal with it by returning to her art. She's known for painting the East Yorkshire landscapes, and here to talk more about her work and her career is Stephanie Hatley. Stephanie, welcome to the studio. Now, before we talk about this fabulous artwork that you've actually brought in with you, talk about the beginning of your career then. And what happened. You trained as a silversmith then back in the 1980s, so
yes.
You've obviously got a creative streak within your blood. What made you want to pursue that path, and what happened really?
Well, like many schoolgirls, I started painting and sketching, and it just grew from there. I didn't really have a career in mind. I didn't know where I wanted to go in life, but art college beckoned, so I went. I did a year's foundation course, which was a wonderful experience to try as many different techniques as possible.
Right.
Loved the whole sort of arty environment, and just naturally progressed on to do an art degree course.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure how I ended up doing silversmithing. I've never really been quite sure about that, but it was wonderful and I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
Learnt some really interesting techniques and ways of using metal, which I'd never come across before.
Yes.
So it was a very exciting time. When I graduated, it wasn't that obvious where to go career-wise, and I'm afraid what happened to me is what happens to an awful lot of people. You end up with bills to pay,
Yeah.
and eventually a family to bring up, and you need to work. So you sometimes have to let go of the things you really love, in favour of paying the bills at the end of the month.
That's it.
don't
So
you?
basically that sort of like put a halt then
that put a halt to
your
things
art
for me.
career.
Yes.
Okay. And then aged 40 then, you were diagnosed with ME. I mean, just explain to us, and I'm sure many people do, because ME is one of those, most people refer to it as chronic fatigue,
Yes.
don't they? How did you realise there was something wrong with you then?
Well, for at least 3 years I had sort of flu symptoms pretty
Okay.
much all the time, aching joints, tiredness, weariness, sore throats, a whole list of symptoms that let me know that life wasn't as it should be, but there was
Right.
nothing specific enough to say what was going wrong.
Right.
After about 3 years, the fatigue side started to kick in to the point where I actually found I could no longer walk.
Okay.
I couldn't get up and down stairs or really care for myself in any way. I saw my doctor, who diagnosed me with chronic fatigue, ME, and started to have all sorts of strange symptoms, muscle twitches, and a body that just seemed unrelated to the body I
Right,
used to live
yes,
in.
Yeah.
I ended up in Hull Royal Hospital for about 3 weeks undergoing tests, and a diagnosis of chronic fatigue ME was confirmed really on the day of my 40th birthday.
I know. So, I mean, how did that make you feel? I mean, did you at that point think, oh my gosh, you know, what's going to happen at all? I mean, how did it affect you?
I had young children, I had a husband, I had a busy life involved with church, a lot to do. I just couldn't see how I was going to manage. I couldn't see any future at all. I did have the ability, I suppose, just to trust that there was a purpose to this.
Yes.
And that would be revealed to me in time.
Yeah.
But that was really about the only thing I could do, was just to wait and trust and hope. And The next 2 years were very, very difficult. My very young children had to learn to get themselves to and from school. Other mums helped me amazingly. Other families gave us a great deal of support, which we were so grateful for. But there was still no sense of where the future was going. After about 2 years, I met a therapist at Hull Royal who was very inspiring. She seemed to have a different take on things. I believe she'd come over from Leeds General Hospital to set up a new ME programme here at the Hull Royal. Her general way of looking at life was that there was nothing that couldn't be helped. You just had to find the right things, the right triggers, the right way of living life. And it struck a chord with me from the very beginning, and I really believed in her and believed in everything that she was teaching us. She showed us better ways to manage our symptoms, better ways to try and achieve the rest we needed to give ourselves energy to do things. But the thing that she said to me, which was the most important, was, what did you used to love doing? What used to float your boat, really get you going when you were younger? And of course it was painting. And so it was a hobby that I could take up to try and achieve something each day. When I could sit, I could paint just a little bit. It was very tiring, it was very frustrating. Sometimes I couldn't hold the brush, sometimes I taped the brush to the end of my fingers because my fingers wouldn't hold it.
Yes, yeah.
But we got there slowly and gradually. And amazingly, I was lucky enough to pick up a little bit of work doing some industrial development sites, artist impressions of projected industrial sites, and it just gave me a feeling that perhaps there was a new life out there and a new career.
Brilliant.
And actually ME might be dreadful, but it might have kicked me into a better direction, a happier direction.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to have to cut you there, but that is the build up to what we're going to talk about shortly, which obviously is the artwork as well, and how that's. But thank you, that a very interesting story there. But now it's time for another school in Big Questions for little kids.
We are from Healing Primary School, and today's question is, how can we reduce GP waiting times?
By making 2 different types of hospitals, one for minor things like a little injury or just a checkup, and one for major ones like something like a broken leg or having surgery.
You could get more staff into the hospital so you can, it won't take long, and maybe you could expand the hospital further.
Well, for minor things like coughs and colds, you can go to a pharmacy to see a chemist, and because they can give you advice instead of going to a doctor's for more major things.
Well, I think when some people go into the doctors, especially if they're a little bit lonely at home and they don't have many people to come and see them, they go on about the family a bit and what's happening in their lives instead of getting to the problem and sorting it out. So I think within the hospital there should be a bit of a sort of support centre that a doctor can refer you to.
Well, I think that we need more GPs in the area. So we need more surgeries around in the same place, and they should make different hospitals, one for the elderly, one for young children, and another one for serious injuries.
We could have more doctors' surgeries so less people are waiting at one surgery at a time.
And if your school wants to take part in the Big Questions feature, then call the news team on Grimsby 01472 315 553. Now, still with me in the studio is Stephanie Hatley, an East Yorkshire artist. And Stephanie, before that, we heard your very inspiring story about how art helped you recover in a way with your ME, which obviously you still have ME, yes. That's not gone away, but this, what we've got in front of us, has certainly helped with that, hasn't it? I mean, let me, such an array of beautiful, beautiful paintings here. I mean, we're going to hold some of these up. First and foremost, I mean, you do a lot of floral paintings, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I mean, what inspires you?
I suppose it has to be the colour, but there's a feeling that nature will go on regardless of what happens to me or anybody else. The beauty of nature will still exist and the ecosystem will still be there.
Yeah. I mean, these, I mean, do you go out with your sketch pad and you sit there in the countryside and take these sketchings? Is that how you work?
Quite literally, yes.
Yeah. I mean, they're so beautiful. I mean, to be talented to paint, I think, anywhere in the first place is just an amazing thing. And we've got another one here. We just bring this one up, which many of our viewers may recognise because this is Normanby Hall, isn't it?
It is,
so for that one, did you actually pop along?
This one is a painting of a place which is a great popular family day out. We used to take our children there a lot.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, so inspiring. I could never walk around without a camera. But in addition to a camera, I like to have what I call my artist's eyes on and try and just memorise as much as I possibly can.
Right.
That painting was painted in the studio back in my home.
Yeah.
Because I was on a family day out, so
yes.
you can't expect people to sit there while you lose yourself in a painting for hours. When I get home, I look at my photographs, but more than the photographs, I look into the place I've just been, try and recapture what it felt like, what it smelt like, the temperature, the mood, the feel, the sounds, and then I disappear back into that place to paint.
Right, yes.
And I like that to all come pouring out onto the paper.
Well, I mean, that is a beautiful one, isn't it, with the bluebells and the rhododendrons there. I mean, because obviously Normanby Hall should look like that right now if anybody goes there, shouldn't they, with that? So, I mean, this is it. I mean, we've got another one, a beautiful, beautiful image here of poppies. I mean, they're so gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah, the colour's amazing.
What do you like about poppies?
They're so delicate and they just don't last in any other situation than the wild. You can't pick them and take them indoors, but they just fill your heart with such gladness when you see them.
They do. I mean, they are. I mean, I love the colours on that. Absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? And again, with there, you know, is there any times? I mean, you say you take photographs. Are there occasions when you do literally just go out with your sketch pad and you sit there and you draw?
Yes, I've just spent a week in Norfolk actually sitting just sketching and drawing. I take my sketch pad pretty much every place I go.
Yeah.
I don't always get time to use it. Very often I just carry that and a bottle of water around all day long and come back with one photograph on my phone.
Right.
But it's always there when I need it.
Yeah.
And I have literally thousands and thousands of photographs that I've taken, so if the weather's too bad to go out, I can always go back into that little world.
Sit at home and do it.
Home.
Now, one thing, talk about special places, because I refer to you as an East Yorkshire artist. Obviously, one place which you've already told me is special to you, of course, is the Humber.
Yes.
And the bridge.
The Humber, well, I was bowled away when I moved here 20 years ago. I never thought I'd seen anything so beautiful in all my life as the Humber. It's always changing, it's never still.
Yeah.
So moody, so beautiful, so rugged. Just always endlessly inspiring.
And whereabouts on the Humber did you paint this from then?
This is North Ferriby foreshore,
right.
And you get an absolutely stunning view of the bridge from there and wonderful enormous skies. I go down there a lot to walk my dogs, Toby and Molly. Sadly, Molly's not with me anymore, but she's actually, her ashes are in the Humber, so she's where she loved being. And it's just a really special place.
I was going to say, it sounds like it is a very special place for you. Now, talking about dogs, we've got a portrait there, haven't we, of a dog. This is Monty?
Monty, yes.
My horse is called Monty, but I do own a border terrier, but he's called Basil. So why the dog portraits then? Because that is lovely, isn't it?
Well, I've always loved dogs, and dogs have always been my walking and sketching companions. Had dogs all my life.
It's beautiful.
I was asked to paint Monty by a friend, and he's just become my poster boy for my animal portraits, really, because he's just got such a fantastic face and perfect whiskers.
And you obviously get lots of commissions, don't you, for things like that? And just quickly, because we're nearly out of time, you also paint a lot of butterfly and buddleia pictures, don't you, as well?
Just to bring some bright, cheerful happiness to people's lives, really.
They're beautiful. They're very colourful. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for, but if people are interested, obviously, in your work, they can go visit your website, can't they, as well? Yes. And that is www.stephaniehatley, all one word, lowercase.co.uk. Thank you very much for coming in and sharing these beautiful pictures. We look forward, because I know you've got so much more, we look forward to a return visit sometime.
That would be wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Now, here's the sport with Erica Barker.
Robbie Brady, Stephen Quinn and David Myler are all in line to play for the Republic of Ireland against England at the weekend. The Tigers trio have all been included in Martin O'Neill's squad for the friendly fixture. The game is an important part of Ireland's preparation for next week's Euro 2016 qualifier against Scotland. And following on from Hull City's relegation to the Championship, the price of a 2015-16 season card will remain the same as during the initial renewal period. They are now back on sale. The club say as a gesture of goodwill, supporters who renewed ahead of last weekend's renewal deadline will be able to claim a free ticket to each of the next 3 games in the Cup competitions. The Mariners Trust says they're overwhelmed by the response to their Budget Boost initiative. The scheme, which invites fans to pledge what money they can, with the proceeds ploughed into Paul Hurst's budget, launched yesterday when it's already surpassed £20,000. And Cleethorpes Cricket Club is among 149 projects securing a share of £16.5 million of National Lottery funding from Sports England that will help improve facilities and playing fields across the country. They've been awarded over £44,000 to improve drainage issues at the club. The latest round of facility funding will help create new changing rooms, pavilions and artificial grass pitches. And Rover's retail store has launched a new online store compatible with mobile and tablet devices. They're offering a free delivery offer as it gets off the ground. Until next time, goodbye.
That's it. Thank you to my guest, Stephanie Hatley. If you have a news story, then visit our Facebook or Twitter pages, details on the screen, or email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 315 553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Estuary TV's weather, sponsored by Hornsby's, celebrating 100 years in buses.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Wednesday is going to be cloudy at first, with a few light showers still possible, becoming drier and brighter with some sunny spells and light winds, and a maximum temperature of 18 degrees. Thursday dry and warm with cloud and sunny spells.
Estuary TV's weather, sponsored by Hornsby's, celebrating 100 years in buses.